Ellie Wolf here? No. Okay, I guess that's good because he's the only one that can calculate gematries in his head and correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm glad I get to speak. He is coming, right?
You're on the way.
So I want to get the gematrias done before he gets here. Everyone else will buy them. He'll correct me. So I'll do that first. Also, no one can match him in gematria. So everyone else will say, "Well, that's not bad," but he'll say, that's nothing. Okay. I knew that the gematria would be the way to go when I realized at the lunch suda yesterday that. Pesel is the gematria 240 and Fink is the gematria 240. So once I saw that that worked out so well, I realized that I could probably come up with some gematrias. So Pesel and Fink have the exact same gematria. Meir Yehuda the Pesel Fink is 763. You can borrow your neighbor's fingers and toes if you need. 763. I was thinking about the fact that Mama was zocha to 4 generations. She had 4 children, Kanai her 20 grandchildren. I was told 98 great-grandchildren and 4 great-great-grandchildren. So how many is that? 4, and 24 is 24, and 98 is 122, and another 4 I think is 126. So if you add 126 to the 763, that's 889, which is exactly the gematria of Arba Doros. 889 is Arba Doros. If the fingers are too many for that, you can take out your cell phones and use the calculators. That's okay. If you add the same 126 to 889, it's 1015. I'm not sure what this is worth or where it gets you, but that happens to be Paz name Alter Eliakim Getzel is exactly 1015. So that's that. It's interesting. I was thinking that Baruch Hashem Mama was blessed with Arichas Yomim, and it's interesting that this past week's parasha yesterday we learned Naso, which is the longest parasha in the Torah, 176 psukim. And last night when I mentioned this to my father, that I always knew. But what I didn't realize, and he told me that he always knew this because Uncle Sal had told him, but I don't remember being told, I probably wasn't, I just forgot, that the longest kapitel in Tehillim is which one? Kuf Yud Tes, and there's 176 psukim. And, I'm sorry? And the longest Masechta in Shas is Bava Basra, and it goes up to Kuf Ayin Vav. It's actually only 175 block, but don't tell. It goes up to 176. So it's interesting that when we think of Arichas Yomim, we have the longest parsha, the longest kapitel, Tehillim, and Victor, you heard this from Uncle Sal? And the longest Masechta all have 176. So I thought there ought to be some connection with the 176. I was trying to figure that out. Arichas Yomim is the gematria 731, to the best of my ability to add it up. 731 plus 88 was Papa's age, and 96 was Mama's age. Comes out to, again, 731 plus 88 and 96 comes out to 915. I couldn't figure out what to do with that. 915, I don't know, it didn't have any real meaning. So I gave up. If you have any suggestions, let me know. If 9:15 rings a bell.
A very good Shacharis time.
9:15. If that maybe on Owl Street or something. If that has any meaning, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, but working along again with the with those numbers of 176. If you take those 3 176s and you multiply them by 3 or add them up, it's 528. So I thought that maybe we could use that once we have Arichas Yomim and Mama's age and Papa's age was 915. I don't know, but the 528 I thought might be useful. But it turns out I was wrong. Meir Yehuda the Pesel together is 527. So that didn't work out. It's not the 528. But I kept trying, and I figured out that if you add that 528, again, the number of blad and bav bas, the number of psukim and kuf yutes, and the number of psukim in yesterday's parsha, to that 528, if you add it to Pesel is 240, 240 and 528 is 768. I calculated 768 to be the gematria of Scranton and Baltimore. Try it. I have the letters here if you want. It's interesting when gematrias come out and they just work, and it's like a coincidence, and you say, wow. But sometimes I think it's even more interesting when gematrias don't work out and they're off. So I was impressed when I calculated Shloshim to be, this is the Suda from Shloshim, to be 686, and Pesel Fink, plus that 176, that magic number we're working with, was 656. And that Shloshim was just off by exactly 30. So I thought that was as interesting as a match, but maybe not. Okay, anyway, it was worth a try. You win some, you lose some, I guess. Anyway, so that's it for gematrias. Baruch Hashem, I got them in before Eli got here. I was worried about the one thing I'm going to say about Dikduk, but Baruch Hashem, Uncle David is not coming, so I don't have to worry about that too much. So hopefully we can get that in without anyone noticing, and hopefully I should be okay.
He is watching.
Oh, he's watching? Uh-oh. Okay, if the phone starts to ring, we'll know I'm in trouble. But anyway, I'm saving that for later. Eli told me that the speech had to be a minimum of a half hour, so he didn't say a maximum, but he said a minimum of a half hour, so he's not here, I can say whatever I want, right? Okay. Anyway, I just want to say I think I'm supposed to say a story about Mama, but I don't have one, so I'm going to say a story about one of my kids instead. Maybe that'll work, I don't know. Meir Yehuda, who's actually named after Papa. About a year and a half ago, he and I set out to learn a Masechta for his bar mitzvah, which will be Mitzvah Shem on Sukkot. And we picked Rosh Hashanah for whatever reason, and we learned the first 25 out of 35 blocks. If I skip this part, I'll be okay, actually. And after 25 blot and almost a year and a half of learning, he decided that it was difficult. He didn't want to invest the time, and he just didn't want to do it. So we gave up, and he said he wasn't doing it. The reason I'm telling you this now is because the night that Mama was nefteres, when he heard that she was nefteres, he asked me if he could still do it. He hadn't learned for 2 months, but he decided that he wanted to do it Le'ilui Nishmasa. And I apparently was touched by that. Anyway, he continued learning, and we're not there yet, but so this isn't here yet either. And hopefully we'll make it. 2 months lost, but we'll try and make up the lost time. And I mentioned this story not only because I didn't have a story about Mama, but because I wanted to make the point that he felt it. He felt a certain closeness, and it wasn't just like somebody he didn't know, somebody he didn't have a relationship with. It was something that was important to him, and no, I'm okay, thank you. So far, I'll let you know if things change. But he really felt a closeness, and something that had been so difficult for him, he changed his mind and said he was going to do. And so over Shabbos, I asked him what he remembered, what memories he had, and he told me he remembered 2 things that came to mind. One was a birthday card at the Levaya. A number of people mentioned birthday cards. He said he remembered getting a birthday card with a motorcycle and a check and being very excited. He also remembered getting silver dollars. He didn't usually ride the Long Island Railroad, so that was a novelty for him. And I think that and this was said at the Levaya, but I think that there was a certain amount of thought that went into gifts for people, that went into the cards, that went into to giving people something that they would remember. I remember as a kid, I don't know how many of my cousins remember, getting crisp dollar bills for whatever it was, Hanukkah gelt or whatever in the envelope with the cutout for the president's face, that Mama went to the bank and got brand new bills, so that it would be special, and it would be something that we would appreciate. Another example is that my wife teaches Navi, and Mama was going to a Navi share, so she used to save the sheets, the notes that she got in the shir, and she used to send them to Batsheva, because she asked her, what Navi are you teaching? It was the same Navi, and she wanted her to have the notes. Again, just a certain thoughtfulness, a certain consciousness and thoughtfulness. There's a famous question on the parsha we learned yesterday. The famous obvious question is, why does the Torah repeat the exact karbanos for the 12 Nesiim? Torah doesn't have an extra word, and yet it says the same exact words 12 times. And there are multiple answers, but the most common obvious answer is that, not obvious, but the most common answer is that each Nasi